On this video, I am going to give you the answer to break your patterns of history repeating itself. History repeats itself over and over and over and over again from month to month to month. And you ask yourself, why have you been in this monotony of drain, of turmoil, of unsuccessfulness? This is the reason why. I'm going to show you the exact answer, exactly how to solve it. Stay to the end, and you could potentially figure out how you could be winning $100 for free. So what I'm going to go over, guys, is essentially what you should be doing at the end of every single month. Okay, every single month you should be giving yourself not just a scorecard, but also just a write-up, a journal of how your month actually went. And if you're not doing this, how can you ever make the adjustments for the next month? And this is really that 9-to-5 mentality to keep a lot of people in the exact same place, because you continue to make the exact same mistakes or take the exact same actions or have the exact same perspective on things because you're not taking a step back and actually looking at it. And that's one thing that journaling does. It makes you actually think out loud, essentially, as well as start to work through the things and give yourself a different perspective, right? Because you can't look at a perspective in your brain if you're the only one thinking in there. There's nothing to go off of, right? But if you actually start putting it on the paper, you can give yourself a different perspective, which can get you, start getting you down a rabbit hole over here, or start asking the questions on how you can impact these areas. But I'm going to go over 7 different areas that I think that you should be judging yourself on every single month, as well as journaling out. So I'm going to pop up on Zoom here, or my whiteboard here, and let's jump into it. Okay. So now, if you guys are using the success journal, it does have a component of this in it. So you guys could always be getting it from there too. Okay, so let's just month on review. We got this at the top here, and let's continue. Okay, so the categories that I would be going over if I was you is, I'm just going to quickly write them all out, and then we can kind of go from there, which is plan. And this is, like I said before, you should always be writing this stuff out. Like, I wouldn't be just leaving it to the computer here. Like, be writing every one of these guys out, because that's how you're going to have that success level. Okay, so this is what we got here. So we got these 7 different categories that you guys need to be going through. So I'm going to break each one of these categories down. And then essentially what you need to be doing is not only giving yourself a score on it, but actually writing it up. So at the beginning of the month, you should be making a plan. So if it's June 1st, then you should have a plan for the month, what you want to execute on, and the goals that you have for that month. So there should be a monetized goal, like an income goal. There should be where do you want to see your business? Where do you want to see your audience? All of those kind of things. Where do you want to see your skill levels? Everything that is essentially listed on here, you should have a goal to each one of those things, as well as a plan of attack towards it. So how are you going to do this? So if it's I want to learn and grow my sales skills, how are you going to go do that? Is it listening to a certain podcast? Is it reading a book? Is it taking a course? Is it just booking a certain amount of calls? Is it just, what is it that you want to do to improve that skill? And what skill do you want to do? Do you want to heighten your conversion rates of how many booked calls you're doing? What is it? And then you guys should have essentially amount of leads that you're acquiring, so you're pushing over there, all of those type of things, and it all should lead to an income that your correlated normal conversion rates work out to be, right? So you should be doing each one of those things to really be pushing where you're going to be. So you should be giving a plan. So if you have a plan and you execute the plan, to me, I know this may sound wrong to you, but to me, if I do 100% of my plan, I give myself a 5. 5 is average. Average is doing what I was supposed to, and that's not good. That's not a 10 out of 10. So this is where a lot of people, they have a different opinion than mine. They think if they do what they're supposed to do, they should get a 10. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe what you're supposed to do. It's if you're supposed to show up to work every single day and then do your job, you deserve to get a 10. No, that's not a 10. When I was in gym class, if you brought your gym strip, you showed up and you participated, you got a 3. 3 out of 5. You didn't get a 5 out of 5. A 5 out of 5 was you had like leadership, you executed at a high level, you had lots of fun, all of those kind of things. That's how you got a 5 out of 5. But if you just showed up as you were supposed to with everything that you were prepared for, you get a 3. So to me, you get a 5 if you execute that plan. So to get a 10 is not only did you execute that plan, but you crushed that plan. And that's how you guys should be operating. A 10 out of 10 should be hard for you guys to get. And rightfully so. You guys shouldn't be making it easy for yourself. The world is very much so everything is simple, but things are not easy to achieve. So if everything is easy, if your goals are all easy, then most likely you're going to get those. But is that actually where you want to be in life? So let's just say that right now you're making $40,000 a year and you're making goals around that $40,000 a year. Are you ever going to make $100,000 a year? No, because you're making it easy. That's correlated with the $40,000 a year. And if you're giving yourself 10 out of 10 for just doing the exact same things that you're doing to get $40,000 a year, you're most likely going to stick there. So you have to start like thinking differently, thinking at a different level if you want to get there. So anyways, your plan, your goal, that's one. And I'd be writing it out. Be like, these were my goals that I wrote out at the beginning of the month. This is what I did well. This is what I didn't do well. This is like, these are the targets that I did hit. These are the targets I didn't hit. And if there's any reasons why you hit them or didn't hit them, and I'd write all of that out. Okay. And then the next thing, which is content. So content is essentially how much content you're putting on your platforms. Let's just say that currently you're only on Facebook, but your goal at the beginning of the month was to be on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and you're still on Facebook. Well, you didn't hit your goals, and you're obviously not putting out enough content because you're missing 3 of the sources. You should score yourself pretty low. If you decided that that was part of your goal, was to be on all 4 of those sources, and you started putting them out, and you said that you only wanted to make 1 post a day, and you started to make 2 posts a day, and you're starting to get more engagement on those, and you're building a organic audience because you're putting out such good quality content, not just abundance of content, but a really good quality content, then give yourself a 10, man. Like if you're doing double the work than you planned for, that's freaking amazing. Like that's 10 out of 10 kind of stuff, right? Or if you're like, hey, like I ended up only on 3 platforms, but I feel like amazing about the quality of content that I'm putting out, even though I'm just putting out the right amount of content, but I feel like so good, like my skill level has gotten so much better. Give yourself like a 7 or 8, because maybe you didn't hit all the platforms you wanted to, but the quality of your content is over exceeding what you thought it was going to be. So like, that's where like that whole thing comes out. And a lot of people think so linear, where it's just like, oh, I was supposed to be on 4 platforms, I'm on 1, I failed, I suck. And it's like, okay, cool, but did you improve? Is that what you're putting out right now? Is it what you wanted to be putting out? And is it great? Or you could just be putting out on all 4 of the platforms that you want to be, but the stuff's garbage. No one's interacting with you. You're not getting any views, and it's not taking you anywhere, and your brand's dying because of the stuff that you're putting out is garbage. So like, it's not just about like putting it out. There's multiple variables to the content that say you'd be putting out. So that would be like that's where it'd be shifting out, and that's where you write it out. I started doing this, I started doing that, this is where I'm at, I'm proud, I'm not proud, all of those type of things, and start writing out, and just make sure that you're super honest with that. Next thing is your audience. So did you expand to those 4 different platforms that you're planning on? Are you just on 1? Did you continue to run advertisement the whole time while doing like some organic posts and stuff like that, so your audience grew every single day? And how big did you want your audience to grow? Like how many leads did you want this last month? And did you achieve all those leads, or did you not achieve all those leads? I just write it out. Yeah, I ran my ads ran poorly, but my organic was really, really good. So this is what happened. And then you can actually like look at it going into next month, be like, holy, like me just making these organic posts, I'm getting way more leads and it's not costing me anything. So maybe I tone back the amount of ads I'm spending, but I push up the amount of content I'm putting out, and that will help your goals for next month. But you wouldn't know this information if you didn't actually go through this metric, audience, right? Like, how's your audience growing? Or you could be like, hey, like I've been pumping out all this extra content and my audience isn't really growing and I scale back my ads, I really need to up my advertising budget because I'm just not getting enough leads, not getting enough people to myself. Like I got to up that. That's what I have to do this next month. And like, tell yourself these things. No, I did everything my plan was. So I got my 5 out of 5 and I actually did more content than I was supposed to, but I just didn't get the results. So I'm giving myself a 7 because I did everything I possibly could. And then some. My try level was really hard there, but I just like, it didn't happen the way that I was supposed to. So you get a 7. You got a 10 if it actually worked out the way that worked out properly, right? Anyway, so on to the next one. Personal, like production personal. I didn't spell personal right. Your try level. Okay, so this is one of those things that I was talking to you guys earlier. And a lot of times this is what it comes down to. Like you're working really hard, you're trying as hard as you possibly can towards the things, towards your goals. Every day you're showing up consistently and everything like that, but you're not reaching your goals. So you're not only like doing everything you're supposed to, you're showing up at your max capacity. So you deserve a 10. You're maxed out. Your try level is a 10. But oftentimes it's not about like how hard you're trying. It's about how you're doing those things. And in what intricacy, with what mindset and intentionality are you doing those things? So, and this is where a lot of people have that like 9 to 5 mentality where they just go to work, they work super hard all day, and they just expect the results. And that's not how it works in business or entrepreneurship. That's how it works potentially at your 9 to 5 job, because you did what you're supposed to do. So how can anybody get mad at you, right? So this is where it's different here. So what is your try level? Or if you're like, I showed up every 3rd day and I didn't do half this stuff that I wanted to, what's your try level? You give yourself a 1. You didn't even show up. Like that's on you. The reason why your success is where your success is at is a big time dictated on this one metric, your try level. So you should ask yourself what your try level is. If you're not like hitting like a 10 out of 10, like you're maxing yourself out every single, all the time, well then like why aren't you doing that? And are you hitting your results? That's probably a pretty big indicator. Next one, your productivity, your income. So what if your income goal is $5,000? If you hit $5,000, you get a 5 out of 5. If you hit $10,000, give yourself a 10 out of 10. If you hit $3,000, you could still give yourself a 5 out of 5 or 5 out of 10, depending on if it wasn't like your fault or not. Like yeah, or 4 out of 10, something around there in the middle section. If you did everything you're supposed to along your plan, but your income goal just was a bad goal in the first place, like you weren't actually set up to hit that goal. That's what I see a lot of times. It's just like somebody comes in and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make $10,000 my first month, but they haven't like set up their flows and their funnels and all those kind of things, and they haven't perfected how they're going to target people, and they're doing things incorrectly, but they're expecting like to have like big time results where they're doing all these things wrong and they're not showing up consistently. It's just like, okay, well then just alter some stuff, right? So your income goal was wrong in the first place, but you did everything you can, so you can give yourself a better score. So just like really look at that, because income is obviously the reason why we're doing everything that we do. Like if you're not making an income, there's no way that you're not a business, you're a hobby, and there's no way that you're going to continue to do it. So just like really look at that in a more linear way of like across the board, how's it all working? Okay, execution level, quality of actions. Okay, so I see this often as well. People are just like, they're just showing up to show up, but they're not like putting in effort towards like their posts. They're not really like, they leave their posts like say like with like some blurriness in them, or they're like 9 by 16 post, and it's like they've been told it should be a 1 by 1. They're not editing it correctly, or they're not taking the 5 minutes it takes to like cut some stuff out of a video or whatever, or they're just not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. Their leads, they're talking to them, but they're not sending them to the right place. They're not being intentional with their actions. The quality of action is just low. It's just like, no, like it's low. Like you're just going through the motions. Going through the motions is never going to lead you to success. Or you'd be like, yeah, like my quality of actions, I couldn't have higher quality of actions for my skill set right now. I've maxed out my skill set. I need to learn more, but I'm showing up with the best quality of actions I had. Actually, at the beginning of the month, I learned so much more. So my quality of actions are way better than they were at the beginning of the month. So I'm giving myself a 10. because my actions improved so much over the month, and I showed up and did the best possible job that I possibly could. And then you go through that. So you just have to ask yourself how you're executing. And I see more people than not just showing up to show up. It's like, hey, you're supposed to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And they're like, yeah, but I'm only going to do like E and sometimes B and then D. And I'm going to do it like, just going to do it. It's just, I make a post and put 5 words out there. It's done. It's gone. Every one of my posts. It's just done. I just took a quick selfie. I don't really care how I look, what it says, how it makes my audience. It's done. I did it. I put it out there. So it's good. Now, I mean, like that's great if you want to build some habits with it, but it's just, you got to ask yourself, how quality are you doing right now? And can you be doing better? And that's where that metric comes in. And then the learning and growth. Have you been learning this month? Can you actually say what you've learned? And I think this is a massive thing to write out, because you start actually looking. It's like, what did I learn this month? A lot of the things you probably learned, you're not actually having like implemented, and you're not actually doing on a daily or weekly basis. You're not actually doing those things constantly. And I know this because I learn stuff every day. I'm constantly downloading on myself, but that doesn't mean that I remember everything. And sometimes I need that repetition and relearning and everything. Like I was just telling Sylvia earlier, there's how to answer that question. I knew the beginning part of it, but I didn't know the end part of it, right? Like if somebody keeps asking you how to make, how much it costs, It's like, yeah, I heard these guys say it perfectly. I know where the answer is and all those things. So if I was asked, I would just go to the resource, and then I would be relearning until it becomes a habit and it becomes like really good information for me. But like, you got to ask yourself, did I learn a lot? Yeah. Am I implementing it a lot? No. Yes. Whatever. Did I put a really good effort into learning? Has my skill set got better in some type of way? Yes. No. Maybe so. All of those kind of things. And that's the processes that you have to be going through, and you have to be asking yourself, because if you start the month and then end the month in the exact same growth place, how could you ever expect like your income to grow, your audience to grow, all of those type of things to grow on a more exponential way? They're not. They're good. You're really gonna hollow out. And if you're already at like, say, like you're only at $500 a month, and you're not learning, you're not growing, but this is the plateau that you're at, well, you're going to plateau there. You still need to gain your skills. You still need to grow. You still need to implement more. You still need all those kind of things. And you should be doing that on a daily basis, no matter how big you are. It's like I was listening to this one podcast the other day, and this guy's one of the best sellers that's out there. And he said the number one thing that dictates the 1% salesperson compared to the rest of the 99% is they don't have an ego about themselves, and they are constantly learning to get better. Now, this guy has taken like pretty much every sales course that you can possibly like imagine, from like every name that you could think of. And it was crazy, like him listening to these things. I was like, wow, I'm surprised he even knew all these people, and he's taken all their courses. Like, that's crazy that he's put in that kind of amount of growth into himself. But that's it. Like, he's been in sales for 12 years, and he's one of the best because of that reason, because he continued to grow. And the guy made, like, his businesses, like his umbrella of businesses, make over $1 million a month now. And he has a plan of being able to get up to, he wants to get up to 100,000 a year. And it's like, that's great. And he'll make it because he has that mindset of, you're going to continue to grow. But if you're making $500 a day and it's your hobby, or a month, and it's a hobby for you at this point in time, because nobody can survive off $500, and you're not continuing to grow, you got to ask yourself, do you actually think that you'll ever be able to make that 5-figure a month salary? Most likely not, because you're not willing to put it in and continue to learn and grow. So how can you expect everything else to grow if you're not growing and you're the engine of your business? So that's why it's so important to go over all these things. And now that I've gone over all of them, and you're asking yourself, you're like, wow, Mark, like that's a lot. But this is a 30-day synopsis, right? 31-day synopsis, or one time a year, it's 27 or 28 days, right? So it's just like, it's many day synopsis. But if you don't go over these things, how can you make sure that the next 30 or 31 days, you're impacting at a high level? You can't make sure. You won't make sure, and you'll most likely plateau and stay in the same place. You may luck out for a month or two, but you'll have this massive downfall afterwards. And you're like, holy crap, why is all these things happening? No one would know because you're not looking inside your business. And there's a massive reason why every single big business goes over metrics and analytics and all those kind of things, and has reports every month and week and all of that type of stuff to see how things are going. Because if you're not looking inwards, there's nothing that's going to happen outwards that's different than what's been happening before. So you can take a picture on this. Actually, don't take a picture on this yet. There we go. Now you can take a picture on it. But yeah, you can take a picture on this. Like, this is what I would recommend. Like, it's the 30th. So over the next 36 hours or whatever it is for you, like, be going over this and know, like, going into next month, this is how I performed this month. Am I satisfied with it? Am I not satisfied with it? And how am I going to make sure that this next month is even better? Because every month should be your best month. That's the intention you should go into every single month. There's not a single month that I've ever gone into and I'm not like, this is going to be the best month ever. But you have to go into it with that kind of intentionality. And if you don't, you won't have the best month ever. If you're like, this month will be cool, we're just going to do this month, most likely you're actually going to backslide. Not only like not stay the same, but you'll probably backslide. So just make sure, guys, like, you go over those things, you get everything locked in, you write it all out, you think about it, and then you make the adequate changes, make the plan for the next month, and let that puppy roll. I'm not going to say that every single time you make a plan, it's gonna be the perfect plan, but at least you have a plan. At least you can go execute. Because if you don't have a plan, you'll never be able to achieve anything, right? So go make that plan, make that goal, but base it off of how this last month went, or else history will repeat itself. As I stated at the beginning of this video, you can win $100 for free. What we're going to do, as soon as we hit 2,500 subscribers, we're giving away a free $100 Amazon gift card to a random person that comments in the comment section. So put a comment down in the comment section. Let's have a conversation, and you could win $100 for that one comment. I hope you gained a tremendous amount of value on making money online and the online business world. I know it's not always the easiest thing to break into, so this is why we put out these videos on YouTube and all the other free content that we put out. But if you actually want to work with us and get some of this one-on-one mentorship that we provide inside of our community, reach out to us and we will get you set up with a one-on-one call with one of our advisors. We will set up a customized plan for your online business and how we're going to get you scaled to 5 figures quicker than anywhere else on the internet.